extracted. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the little sack. Next, the meat goes into the Dutch oven, and the reduced wine with all the juicy little bits, that goes in too. Now we're still maintaining this over low heat, okay? Now we're going to add another half cup of the wine and 3/4 of a cup of canned evaporated milk. I repeat, not sweetened condensed milk, okay? Evaporated milk is really just milk that's been cooked and canned, and I like it because it has considerable flavor and body, and it won't curdle when it meets up with the acid in the wine, and that's critical. Also, I'm going to add 3 cups of beef broth. This could be canned or cartoned. There. Perfect. Oh, and this is where I usually add a little Boletus edulis. Behold, the porcini mushroom, unique in the fungal world, not only for its size, but its high concentration of meaty flavors, which are due in large part to a concentration of amino acids, including glutamic acid, the active ingredient in MSG. Now, porcinis, which are quite rare in this country, in the fresh form at least, also contain high amounts of sulfur compounds capable of creating meaty aromas. Luckily, the meaty attributes of most mushrooms, and porcinis in particular, are preserved by drying. A mere ounce of dried porcini chopped fine will add a earthy depth to all that meaty goodness. But odds are, no one will ever know it's there. Now, you're going to let this heat very slowly and cook very slowly, covered over low heat for 3 hours. That's right, hours. The goal is to slowly break down the connective tissue that's still in the meat, thus extracting all of the gelatin possible. Remember, at this point, it's basically a stew, and stews take time. Just remember, lift the lid every half hour and give it a stir. All right, the Dutch oven has been perking away for an hour and a half, so we'll give that a stir and then turn our attention down to the saute pan. Now, we are going to build the tomato herb acid part of the sauce. The way I see this, it's really the pickiest part of the process because it involves very careful reductions. So I want to keep that out of the meat until we are completely, well, I'm completely happy with it. So 1 tablespoon of olive oil goes over medium heat, along with some more garlic. 2 cloves this time, sliced, and just keep that moving around until it's fragrant. 30 to 45 seconds tops. There. Now add 2 28-ounce cans of tomatoes, diced, not crushed. There, along with 1 tablespoon of dried oregano, and 2 teaspoons each of dried marjoram and dried basil. There, just stir that in and let this cook until most of the liquid has evaporated, 25 to 30 minutes. All right, decrease the heat to low and stir in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste and 1 tablespoon of sherry vinegar, which is just as sweet as balsamic, just not as, well, grotesquely overused. I also like to give this about a teaspoon shot of Worcestershire sauce, personal favorite of mine, and another 1/4 cup of white wine to help bring out the alcohol-soluble flavors in the tomatoes. And then I add 1 tablespoon of a secret ingredient. I'm not going to show you. No, get away. I'm not going to show you. All right, it's ketchup. There's just no replacing it, I'm afraid. All right, let this simmer nice and low for 30 minutes. Oh, and go ahead and give the meat another stir so that it doesn't stick. Okay, the final adjustment to the tomato team, and this is a little bit unusual. Add another tablespoon of olive oil, okay, and then turn the heat up to medium-high. We're going to fry this stuff to give it an even deeper flavor. We're going to caramelize some of the sugars that are in there. Just keep it moving for 2 to 3 minutes, or it will stick and it will burn. There, that has got as much flavor in it as we can possibly develop. So, we now move that into the meat mixture, and we'll finally have a finished sauce. Believe me, this has all been worth it. Now, we're going to keep this barely simmering until the pasta is done. Uncovered, please. As we discovered earlier when in Bologna, you will no doubt enjoy meat sauces tossed with wide noodles like fettuccine and tagliatelle. But this is America. Like the English before us, we want our spaghetti. we're going to have it. But you know what? At least make it a nice Italian spaghetti because they tend to be a little bit thicker than our domestic product. Now, for 6 people, I'm going to go with half a pound because I actually like to serve a little bit more sauce than noodles. For any amount of pasta under a pound, I boil a gallon of water. And the way I figure it, pasta needs plenty of room to move around so that it cooks evenly and does not stick. Also, a lot of water means a lot of heat. A lot of heat means quick cooking, and I think that leads to a more toothsome product. Notice also, please, I like a big but narrow pot. I think that enhances the convective action of the water, minimizes evaporation, and also helps to prevent boilovers. I also like a lot of salt. I go with 2 tablespoons of kosher salt per gallon of water. After all, this is the only opportunity we are going to have to season the inside of the noodles. Salt's in, rolling boil, spaghetti goes in all at once. And I like to keep it moving in just the first few moments because a lot of sticking can happen here. Make sure you've got high heat to bring the boil back as soon as possible. Drop the heat to maintain it. Before we go setting a timer, keep in mind that this is an agricultural product, okay? Differences in the wheat harvest or how long the noodles have been on the shelf and all of that cooking time. But 5 minutes is a pretty good place to start. I'll be back. All right, time's up. We taste. What I'm looking for here is not al dente, but something just shy of al dente. I actually want just to hear a crunch still in the back of my teeth. Only one way to find out. Perfect. We drain. And move the noodles straight into the meat sauce. That's right, we are not going to serve the sauce over the pasta as you see done so often.